Hey gang, it's Logan here. I've got a new book review for you. It's a Sunday evening here in Washington, D.C. It's been rainy and gloomy all day. So, in the spirit of grayness, I'm going to review Robert Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. The moon is gray, right? All right, so Robert Heinlein's The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. It's a science fiction book. You may know Robert Heinlein from his more famous work, A Stranger in a Strange Land. I like A Stranger in a Strange Land, but I like The Moon is a Harsh Mistress even better, and I'll tell you why. I think people tend to dismiss science fiction as fantasy in space. You know, it's robots and spaceships and all these aliens, ray guns, space opera kind of stuff. But what I like about science fiction, when it's good science fiction, is that it's very ideas based. It's all based on what if, people asking the question, what if this, what if that, what would happen? And you can explore some really great ideas. I think it tends to be weak on character development, but in terms of raw ideas, it's a fantastic genre. And when you get someone really creative like Robert Heinlein, you get some great work out of it. Now, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress is basically about a rebellion on a moon colony. And it involves a scientist and a technician and a sentient computer, sentient supercomputer, which are all interesting ideas. But for me, what I found most interesting about the book is that it deals with a society on the moon that basically has no government. Robert Heinlein was sort of a freewheeling anarchist type, and he talked a lot about anarchy and how it would work, how a society might work without a government. You saw it a little bit in A Stranger in a Strange Land, where the Martian, after he assimilates to Earth, sort of starts this quasi kind of anarcho-communist cult, which is the second half of the book that I didn't really like that much. I thought it was a bit strange and a bit creepy. There's a lot of weird stuff. It's very 60s sexual revolution, free love kind of stuff. So I didn't like that book that much. But in this one, he takes it to another level with a whole society on the moon that operates without a central government. And he explores in great depth how that might work. And this novel, it didn't originate the phrase, but it popularized the phrase TANSTAFL, which is an acronym standing for There Ain't No Such Thing as a Free Lunch. And it's a phrase that's used often in economics, meaning that there's a cost to everything, even if the cost is simply time or the opportunity to do something else with your time or with your money or your resources or whatever it is. And it's people who understand economics realize that you can't get anything truly for free. There's a cost to everything. And Robert Heinlein understood this, and in his exploration of how a stateless society might work, he talks about TANSTAFL, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch, a lot. So I love that this book kind of delves into those themes. I'm a libertarian, as some of you might know, so talking about human freedom and the ability to subsist without very much government or any government at all is fascinating to me. But apart from the economic and political themes in the book, it's just a ripping good story. It's got great characters. It's got great ideas. The character of the supercomputer is very fascinating, and I think we're all kind of fascinated by artificial intelligence and what might happen if you had a sentient machine, how that might work, what it might look like. There's a great part in the book where they decide to fight Earth by throwing rocks at them, which sounds silly, but then when you realize you're throwing rocks from the moon to Earth, that is a pretty effective strategy. So, I mean, it's those kind of thought experiments that you go through when you think about how would Earth and the moon wage war against each other. It comes up with some really interesting scenarios. And so I really admire Heinlein's brilliance and creativity in this book. Like I said, Stranger in a Strange Land was good. I really liked the first half of it because the first half of that book is devoted to the question of what would happen if you had a Martian come to Earth and had to learn everything from scratch, and how would he react to our society, and what would he find interesting, and what would he find confusing. And I love that. That exploration is so fun. There's a part in it that I think about all the time where the Martian he's adapted really well and he's figured everything out that we do, but he can't figure out laughter. He can't understand why we laugh and what makes us laugh. And he finally gets it. He goes to the zoo and he sees two monkeys like throwing feces at each other and bullying each other and hurting each other. And he starts cracking up. And the people he's with are like, "Why are you laughing? That's, they're being really mean." And he says, "I finally understand why you laugh. You laugh because it hurts." and they're horrified, and they say, no, that's not why we laugh. Laughter is a happy emotion. Laughter is a good thing. And he's like, no, I've got it figured out. You laugh because it hurts. And I think there's a lot of insight into that. And I think about that all the time. I think that's a very insightful way of looking at humor and laughter, because we don't really know why we laugh. Laughter is a pretty unique human emotion, and we don't really understand it. But coming at it from the point of view of a Martian like that and trying to figure it out, I love that. And I think, so that's what I like about Stranger in a Strange Land. And The Moon is a Harsh Mistress has more of that sort of thing, is exploring these ideas, taking them to their logical conclusions. And you end up going places that you would never go in a non-science fiction book. You end up going places that really require you to stretch your imagination and think about how things might work in an alternate society. So I highly recommend Robert Heinlein, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. It's a really fun book. This is a cheap paperback edition from, I don't even know. It says an Orb book. I'm not familiar with that publisher, but it's a great read. A lot of fun. It's not too long. If you're at all into sci-fi and you haven't checked out Heinlein, he's one of the greats. He stands up there with Asimov and Clarke and Philip K. Dick, who's another one of my favorites that I'm going to do a video on fairly shortly. So check it out, guys. You'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching. I've been Logan Albright. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and I hope you'll leave me a comment below in the comments section right down there. Thanks a lot. I'll catch you next time.